Welcome back, everybody. It's Zach here, bringing us another fantasy football video. This one I'll be going over some trade targets. I'll be doing this one a little bit differently than what I've done so far this season. We're really close to the playoffs here. We've got 3 weeks left before the playoffs, and then for most people, we've got 3 weeks in the fantasy playoffs. So I want to highlight players at each position that are going to be really good for getting you into the playoffs, along with some players that should be really good for winning games for you in the playoffs. So I'm going to go over players at each position here. I'll split it into several different videos. So in this one, I'm going to be highlighting the quarterback position, going over some players that I think are really primed for a great next 3 weeks, and then some guys that I think are primed to really help take your team over the top in the playoffs. So should be really useful here. It's always great to sort of try and optimize our roster for the games that we really need to win. If you're 5-6 right now, you maybe got to think about trying to win out to get in the playoffs. If you're 9-2, you're really trying to optimize yourself to get yourself into the best situation to win in the playoffs there. So hopefully you guys find this useful. As always, if you guys do have any specific trade questions, just let me know in the comments. And yeah, should be a lot of fun here. So let's get into it. So starting things off with some quarterbacks that I would be prioritizing if I'm in a spot where I really do need to make sure that I get into the playoffs. I'll start things off with Jalen Hurts, who has matchups against the Rams, the Ravens, and the Panthers over the next 3 weeks. He's through his bye already. That's obviously huge. And these next 3 games here really should be high-scoring games, albeit the Panthers game maybe could get out of hand, and you could see a situation where they do lean on the run game and Saquon Barkley. But at least between the Rams and the Ravens, this should be a pair of high scoring games. Baltimore is a really high octane offense, and their defense has been really bad so far this season. So targeting Jalen Hurts, I know he's not going to come cheap by any means, but if you told me that Jalen Hurts is the quarterback one over the next 3 weeks, I'd absolutely believe that. So I think he's somebody that I would definitely be prioritizing. Maybe my favorite one here is Justin Herbert. Gets Baltimore and Atlanta over the next 2 weeks. Gets Kansas City in week 14, so that's not fantastic. But like I mentioned earlier, we're definitely targeting games against Baltimore. It's a primetime game of Monday Night Football. Herbert's playing out of his mind right now. Baltimore is going to certainly match what's going on there. So I think there's a situation here where Herbert can be a top 7 quarterback over the next 3 weeks. And he's obviously been that over the last 5. He's looked really good since the bye, throwing for over 260 yards a game. This offense looks really good under him. Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey are getting better. I think Herbert's a guy that maybe he's on waivers still. If he's not, he should come really cheap, and he's certainly somebody that could be a big difference maker for you. And then Kyler Murray gets Seattle, Minnesota, and Seattle over the next 3 weeks. Just 3 straight really fun matchups there against teams that really can't defend the pass very well. The Vikings are a fantastic matchup because they're such an elite run defense. You have to throw on them, and their offenses look good as well. Hopefully this Cardinals offense comes out of the bye, all guns blazing with Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison. I think this could be a really fun stretch here for Arizona, and Kyler could be a big part of your roster going forward. And then, of course, here there's some quarterbacks that I'd be looking to prioritize just to really make sure we can win those games in the playoffs. These are guys that are relatively available too, but I'll start things off with Bo Nix, who gets Indianapolis, the Chargers, and then Cincinnati in the playoffs. That's 3 straight games where you could easily see shootouts here. This Broncos offense looks really, really good right now. Bo Nix is playing phenomenal. They just blew out the Falcons at home. Like, Bo Nix and this Broncos offense looks legit right now. Cortland Sutton's playing really well. Vele is stepping up. Troy Franklin's making some plays. Marvin Mims made some plays last week. There are enough weapons in this offense for Bo Nix to go out there and do a lot, and especially in plus matchups like this against teams that can score but can't really defend, Bo Nix could be a really sneaky top 10 quarterback in the playoffs. He's already the quarterback 7 on the season, believe it or not, and I think Bo Nix is a guy that you can honestly trust in your starting lineup come the fantasy playoffs. So if he's out there on waivers, he absolutely needs to be rostered. Baker Mayfield, another great option, could be on waivers because of your bye, because he had the bye last week. It's the Chargers, the Cowboys, and the Panthers. This is a team in Tampa Bay that really does need to win a lot of games here down the stretch to make the play. My bad there. This is a team in Tampa Bay that really does need to win a lot of games down the stretch here to make the playoffs. The offense is not good. These are plus matchups for the team. I think you could see a situation here where Baker just goes out there and continues his hot stretch over the course of the season, ends up being a top 5 quarterback over those few weeks. He's been a really, really good fantasy asset so far, and he's just going to get Mike Evans back going into these good matchups here. And then Jordan Love gets Seattle, New Orleans, and Minnesota. 3 straight really good matchups again. New Orleans, their secondary is super banged up. We just saw Jameis Winston throw for 400 yards against them. Seattle can't defend anybody. Minnesota, I mentioned, they're a pass funnel. Jordan Love could be a top 5 quarterback over the fantasy playoffs, and again, he shouldn't cost you that much right now. He's a guy that I feel really confident in my lineup, and like I said, he shouldn't be that expensive right now. That'll do it for some quarterbacks that I'd be looking to trade for ahead of, whatever trade deadlines you have. Surely trying to optimize our rosters for the playoffs here. So hopefully you guys found those useful. Up next, I'll go over some running back trade targets that I'd have. So stay tuned for that video. We're going to be putting out a ton of videos here. We'll split it up: running back, quarterback, receiver, and tight end. Should all come out in the same day as well. So highly recommend you watch all of those. That way you guys can get yourselves situated for the playoffs. And hopefully you guys find these useful. So yeah. Of course, if you made it this far, make sure you guys like the video. It really helps me out there. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And then, as always, if you haven't subscribed already, if you're new here, just click the subscribe button. That way you don't miss any of the future content. But yeah, appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you with the next one. Peace. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out these other videos here if you haven't. If you want more content, please feel free to follow me on Twitter at RealSteelFFB. I'll be more active on there as the season goes on. Thanks. Catch you later.